What's going on, guys? It's Khal here from Sabers. It is Saturday 31st of October, so it's Halloween today. It's about 20 past 11. So some of you have been getting the Leia hilts already because they were shipping out earlier this week. I thought it would be a good idea to get the assembly video up now so that when you get to receive them, you can sort of follow this and know what to do once you have your kit. So it's been a busy week. We've got about 150 of them out so far, probably another 200 or so to do this weekend, but it's just mainly booking shipping labels and stuff like that. So you should be getting some tracking numbers over the weekend. They'll update at the beginning of the week, and that will then let you know that the package is on the way, and you can monitor that. It's always good, monitor your tracking numbers just in case something goes wrong or whatever. You know, if there's any problems, get in touch with DHL straight away. And yeah, but they've all been arriving safely. So once you open your box, you'll see we've got QC parts. We've checked all the hilts nice and carefully, make sure there's no parts missing or anything. And just like a sort of Apple box, you lift off the top and we can go through some things. So immediately you're going to see your mother of pearl sheet. Now remember, guys, this is an organic material. It's not synthetic. So far, I believe we're the only ones who have made a Leia replica not using synthetic mother of pearl, which is known as pearloid or celluloid, which is just made from plastic really. But this is actual genuine mother of pearl, sourced from actual harvesters of this material, and it's on a self-adhesive backing which has been laser cut. Now you'll see, if you look closely on the back side, you'll see there's little breakaway tabs. The reason why they're there is so these are very fragile, and you don't want to damage any of these if I just put them loose in a bag. So they're on this sort of strip. That way you can tear them off. Well, ideally you want to cut them off. So it's a good idea to have just, you know, a sharp knife just to cut those tabs, which we'll go through in a sec. We're going to go through this together. And you can put them on there. Don't be concerned that you've got two circles. Basically one of them's just spare. So because it goes on the button, you're going to be pressing the button quite a lot. It's just a good idea to have one spare in case, you know, it gets dirty over time or something like that. I am going to be sourcing some more sheets for extras just in case there's any problems. You might see as well there's little scorch marks from the laser. Those scorch marks are just like burnt dust, bit of the burnt adhesive from the laser cutting through. But once they're on the hilt, you don't see any of that. And I've also just got some light cleaning alcohol. This is just what I use for cleaning flux, but just like a 75 to 80% IPA alcohol is good to clean the top of it once it's on the hilt, because like I said, it is very thin, it's very fragile. So we're going to go through that, and we're going to peel it off with some sharp tweezers, which is what you want to be using. But for now, we'll just put that to one side, and we'll go through the kit. Now the kit comes pretty much assembled for you, so we're just going to lay the foam out, and we've got the kit here. Now let's go through some of the pieces you've got. This is your heatsink cup. So if you'd rather not do NeoPixel, you'd rather have, I don't know, Tri-Cree, LED instead of the NeoPixel on there, you can go ahead and use this, and it screws into the base of the emitter. There's a thread inside the base of the emitter if you wanted to add this. This is your heatsink cup. I'm pretty sure most people are going to be doing NeoPixel. So if you're going to be doing NeoPixel, this is your FX emitter. So it's 1 inch emitter, and it's got the top slots open, which on the prop on screen, you can see only the top light is glowing. So what we've done is we've made those ones open, just like the prop, and then you'll have a small M2.5 screw here, which can hold a short NeoPixel holder in the bottom. So that's your FX emitter, if you do want to be converting it to FX and not have it as a static prop. You've also got your belt clip and belt screws. So on the archive prop, which was shown off screen on a YouTube video, people noticed there was a belt clip. Now I added these in last minute, so you guys got a bit extra for being patient and supporting the pre-order run. So if you want to add a belt clip, you can add a belt clip. It's not seen on screen, but if you want to have it like the archive prop, you've got screws, which are M2 screws, and you've got the belt clip if you want to add that on. And I'll sort of go through the process of adding that shortly. Then you've got your blade plug insert. So once you've done your install, you can get some thin-walled blade tubes, and you can cut them to the exact length that you need, and this can be an insert for it to go along with your FX emitter, so you'll get that accurate look, and you can make your own blade plug. So again, it's just thin-walled blade stock. Cut it to the length that you need it after you do your install, and jobs are good and you're ready to go. This is the main switch bezel, which is going to be mounted to the hilt, which we still need to add on. You've also got the button assembly here with the pieces, and you've got the button actuator. So I think what we'll start off by doing is we'll start by adding the button. So you take the hilt out, and you've got the hilt nice and shiny. The D-ring's already on, and it's already been fastened there. You've got your sound holes. The bottom just unscrews like this. We don't need to unscrew that right now. But what we will need to do is take off the neck. So I'll put the base here for now. This is the screen accurate emitter. So you can see all windows are open. You've got that middle piece, which it does unscrew. If you don't want to have it static, you can unscrew this piece like so. It's the middle part. You can unscrew this, and you can unscrew this. So that's your screen accurate emitter, and that screws into the bottom of this. So you screw this back on, screw this back on, and that's your screen accurate emitter assembled. Now the reason why I've taken this neck off is we're going to add the button. So this is where the button's added. The button assembly is designed so that you can use it as a switch. So it's got some travel built into it, like a lot of my previous hilts. So if we take out everything, just put the bags to one side. This is your button actuator and screw. So what we want to do is we want to put this on first. So we get the switch body, we get the button actuator, and we get a small Phillips head driver. We drop that screw into the bottom, and it will screw into that silver actuator. You see it's got a bit of travel there. That's so it can obviously press the button. If you're not having it press the button and building it as a static prop, you don't need to use the included momentary switch. It goes inside here. You'll notice that it doesn't go in straight away. That's because when you're doing your install, you just need to sand the edges of your momentary switch. Just file it. I filed it for about maybe like 2 minutes. Just filed the edges because these little pieces, these metal pieces, they sometimes have little lips. So despite doing it as per the dimensions, when they're in production, they have these little lips, which is why it can sometimes interfere a little. So you just sand the outside of that, and then it will slot in. And you'll notice this clear piece, which fixes onto the switch, like so. So that when you screw it in, I mean, I might get away with it right now. Oh, I didn't need to sand it. So you can screw that in, and so we need to loosen it a bit. So you can hear that. That's if you want to have the switch. So this one that I'm assembling here is for a customer. They'd want it as a static prop, so I don't need to add this switch into there. So I'll keep that switch to one side. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put this here so it doesn't rattle, and it stays in place. So we're going to screw that on. I can just use anything with a flat head. I'm going to screw that on. That's in there nice and secure now. Using my tweezers. And I'll have it sit down a little bit lower, so it's a bit like the prop. So that's that part on. Now you're going to get this little 3D printed piece. You can use this if you're doing a static prop. If you're using the Eco chassis, the part which holds the male, I think the male or the female PCB connector, has this built onto the 3D print. But if you're just doing a static prop, you can use this. You'll get a small M9 nut, and that just clicks into there. Now what's going to be happening is, as the screw goes in into the body, it's holding on to this. So that's sort of how it works. So when that screws in like so, it clamps down the entire switch assembly. So I just run it through to clean any debris or anything like that, so that's on there nicely. We'll take that off. And then this is the switch body, or the switch housing, and that's what mounts there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this button away as we don't need it. We don't need the FX emitter because we're not doing an install right now, and we're assembling this as a static prop. We don't need the heatsink cup, that can go back in there. We've got 2 spare bags. We don't need the blade plug insert, as this again is going to be a static prop for the customer. And we just got our screwdriver and sharp tweezers for when we did the mother of pearl. So now what we're going to do is get this nut, and it goes this way so that the raised part faces towards the pommel. So we're going to put that in like so and just hold it there. We're going to put the switch body on, and we're going to get the button, just hold it, and we're going to start screwing it in until we catch the threads. Once we catch the threads, which we have, just give it a good tighten with our fingers, and that's the button on there, right there. You can see if you look closely, it's grabbed onto it, and that's perfectly secure. No glue, nothing like that, and for when you're doing your install, makes it nice and easy. And screw that back on, and that's the hilt assembled right there. You don't need to actually assemble anything else. All we need to do now really is the mother of pearl. So my technique is, I get my mother of pearl, and I'm just going to begin by cutting these notches to free up the mother of pearl. So it's one there, one there. And you have to do this on a flat surface, guys. So again, we're going to cut the rest of them. That's freed up. I mean, it's just one little tab. So make sure you're doing it on a cutting mat. I'm just doing it on my packing desk. I should really be doing it on a cutting mat. Now, those should be freed up. You see they're sort of falling out there. So we've got all those strips of mother of pearl. See, it's hollow now. We're going to get one for these pieces here. You can see, so we're going to cut those. See, we might be able to just break them off now. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll get 1 for the button. Just break that tab across. Push it up. Okay. Now you can see the dust on my hands from the natural material. I've got 1 spare button there, which I'll put back in the box for another time. I'll just put it to one side for the moment. So we've got our strips. Bring the hilt back. Let's zoom in. Okay, and we're going to start peeling them. So like I said, guys, they're very fragile. You can see which surfaces. So that's the mother of pearl surface, because it has that sheen, that glimmer, and the back, which is just like textured white paper. That's what we want to be peeling. So we get sharp tweezers, and we just very lightly peel that off. There's 1. And I always hold it on the sides. Okay. And now we're just going to line it up like so. I use the hole as the indicator, and then it just falls into the groove. Use your finger, and that's it, perfectly in. So there's 1 in there. I always get a tissue. I just rub it across. There's 1, and we'll do the rest. So that's the body section done. All the mother of pearl is in there, and it just changes how it looks completely. Really, really nice. So we'll do the button next. Button's a quick one. The button's in there now. And again, you can adjust how it sits using the piece behind it. And now the tiniest parts, which are these rectangular areas around here. So I'm gonna get one of these. What you might find as well easier is you get a little blade to start it off. Piece. Because the body is recessed where the mother of pearl sits, it's very easy to align. It will just sort of align itself once you get it in there. So that's one. We'll do the rest. So that, guys, all the mother of pearl done. You do get a spare square piece. And that is really the hilt assembled. Lovely mother of pearl. We just put the stand up to the one side, screwdriver to one side. And that is your prop ready to display. We've got these leftover pieces, which you can obviously keep in the box. And what I do is I just get a bit of this rubbing alcohol, cleaning alcohol. Don't use acetone; it's a bit too powerful. I just spray on there, and I just get rid of any dust that might have been on the pieces, any oils, stuff like that, just from handling it. And hopefully, we should see some dirt and grime. So you can see a bit dirty. Some of the dust, the scorch marks, and that was why I said if you just use a simple cleaning alcohol, one that's not too strong. This is my flux cleaner, and just go over some of the areas. You'll get rid of any sort of dirt and grime that might have been left by the laser machine. It might evaporate quite quickly, but now you've got obviously a clean sheet of mother of pearl. For those who are looking to add the belt clip, I guess it would be good for me to just show you how I do it. So what we want to start off with is we want to get some masking tape and a pen. So guys, we've got some masking tape, pen and the belt clip. I'm just going to get a pair of scissors as well, or is that, in fact I can use this actually. So what we want to do is we just want to mark on the pommel directly opposite the button. So we want to make sure the pommel's screwed on all the way. I'm going to get a thin strip of masking tape. Just going to straighten this up. And you probably want a strip that's about sort of 8 to 10 mil. That's what we need. And we're just going to put that around the pommel here, because we're going to draw on this for our marking. So I've got that on there. And I'm going to look at this, and I'm just going to do it by eye because it can be slightly adjusted. So we're going to go directly opposite, which is this spine here. So we need to have a marking that's just in line with this. So if I take my pen and I just come down, so that is the line in which I need to drill my holes. Put the lid back on. I can take this off now because we don't need the hilt anymore. We just need this. And the next stage is we're going to use the little 3D printed jig that I designed, which I'll put the files for. and we're going to drill these holes in the perfect location and tap them to M2. So let's go over to the milling machine. So guys, this is my little 3D printed jig. It's just got the holes for where it needs to be for sort of perfect spacing. I've got my little drill chuck in here. I'm just going to put in a 1.5mm drill bit. Let's get this in here. This is just a keyless chuck, so don't worry if I'm not using an actual chuck key. And what we want to do is we want to line up this line through the holes. So we just want to look at where that line is and line it up with there. So I'm going to do that now behind the camera. So that's it there. I'm going to back off my vise. I just want to check that one more time. And there we go. That's in line now. And then I'm just going to line up the holes that I need to drill. So I've got one here, a bit more there. Okay. So there's one. I'm going to line up the next hole. It should just be moving this way. Yeah. So that is our hole drilled, just like that. So we've got the holes done there, and then I'm just going to take some cutting fluid. I'm just going to apply that on there, and I've got an M2 tap, and I'm just going to go very slowly and tap these holes. Okay, and then I'm just going to get a small brush, like a toothbrush, or if you've got compressed air, I'm just going to get any swarf out of there. And we use the tape because when we peel this off, it leaves nice clean surface for us. So I'll throw that in the bin, and that's our holes drilled and tapped. So we've drilled the holes now for the belt clip, and we can take this out. We've tapped it. Now what you might find is these screws will be a little bit long, so I trim mine by about 2mm. And you'll notice that. So if you put the screws in the belt clip and we screw them on here, so you see it's perfectly aligned. That's what that little jig is for. So that way it's perfectly spaced and it goes on there nicely. But you'll notice that they'll protrude a little bit into the threads, and you won't actually be able to screw it onto the bottom of the layer. So if you have a look here, now those threads are interfering. So you don't want to do that, you have to trim those screws. So what we're going to do is, we're just going to get the screws out. And I've got these really sharp clippers, which I use to trim screws sometimes, and I'm just going to take off basically about 1.5 to 2mm, probably just 1.5. So, and I just hold it like this. There's There's one little bit cut off. And cut another little bit off. I'm just going to go into my belt sander, or you can use a file, and I'm just going to round off the edges of where I've cut the screw. I'm just going to round it off, make it like a bit of a chamfer. So I'm going to quickly do that. I just hold it against my machine and I just spin it at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to quickly go do that. Okay, so I've rounded off my screws. I'm going to put the belt clip back on. Let's get that located. There's the first one. Put the second one in. And now those won't protrude into the threads. We can get the Leia hilt. If you see there, it's nicely on there now. There's a bit of a burr in there, and then we want to tighten it. And look at that, perfectly in line. You might want to put some thread lubricant on there just to make it a bit nicer. Not so much of a tight, because right now it's quite tight. Like when I line it up. But what I'll do is I'll just use some thread, like anti-seize, that's what it's called. Forgot the name of it. I'll just put a bit of anti-seize grease in there, and then that way, if I move it back and forth, it'll be nice and smooth. But as you see there, once it's fully tightened, it's perfectly lined up. And that's our belt clip added. So guys, that is the full assembly of the kit. Everything's done. And this can be provided to the customer now, and I hope they're happy with it. This one's for Sue, so it's ready for display with the belt clip and everything. Mother of pearl's been added, nice and shiny. Belt clip's been added perfectly in line, and it's good to go. So guys, hopefully that makes a bit of sense on how to assemble this kit and what you can expect from it once you receive it. Thanks again for your support as always, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.